All right, welcome back to the Name Redacted podcast, America's most beloved podcast. God damn it. This team sucks. I don't know what else to say at this point other than they suck. And it's I'm trying to think back, and I'm trying not to have recency bias as it pertains to 2012, 2014, 15. I'm trying to think like 2020, the worst Red Sox teams that I've personally seen. I feel like 2020, we had braced ourselves for that team sucking. Like we knew the suck was coming.
And like everything fell apart before the season started. Obviously moving off Mookie, but you lose Chris Sale at the time, you lose Eddie. Come on.
We knew 2020 was going to suck. 2014 kind of had similar feeling to it because yes, the Red Sox won the World Series the year before. We were talking about this. I was talking to like one of the dudes in the Red Sox dugout on Friday about if Laz Diaz calls that pitch a strike, Nathan Eovaldi in game 4, then the Red Sox go into the bottom of the 9th tied. They win that game. Now they're up 3-1. There's no way that they blow a 3-1 series lead to Houston. And then you have, I like our chances against the Braves in that series. Like you might be coming off a World Series championship. And then you lose Kyle Schwarber. You trade Hunter Renfroe for Jackie Bradley Jr. You start the season again without Chris Sale. You didn't have Chris Sale to start last year either. They were still in first. They were almost a better team without Chris Sale. Not that like Chris Sale made them a worse team. Chris Sale was fine when he came back, but that team was in first place at the trade deadline. So this one, the comparison to 2013 is you had a really good team the year before and they overachieved. Like they weren't the greatest team, but they had success. And then you kind of roll out a similar team the next year and you're in last place. And I'm trying to make sense of this. I'm trying to understand like why the Red Sox are so bad. And it's boring to keep hammering the same narratives over and over again. Like they're going to hit. Are they? Are they at this point? We roll out the numbers of the bottom third of the batting order. They're the worst in baseball by a large margin. The bottom third of the Red Sox batting order is the worst in baseball. I'm going to pull up the numbers right now. It gets even worse after getting swept on Sunday, and you have Dallas Keuchel pitching as well as he did against the Red Sox. I tweeted that stat. Since the start of last season, we're talking like 36, 38 starts, somewhere in that region. There were only 2 pitchers in baseball worse than Dallas Keuchel. And I think I tweeted that out when he was working a shutout after 4, maybe 5 innings.
It was what, an 8.10 ERA coming into today?
Pretty bad. I'm saying going back to last year. He's been terrible this year, but he like if you even have like a broader scope to look at, he's been bad for a long time. So it's not just like a slow start. He's just like not that good anymore. But yeah, the 7, 8, 9 hitters for the Boston Red Sox this season are hitting 182 with a 495 OPS. The next worst is the Oakland A's. The 29th worst OPS from 7, 8, 9 is 546. So the Red Sox 7, 8, 9 is the worst, and it's not particularly close to anyone else. It's that bad. It's a black hole. And I think coming into the season, I've had this argument with Maz, and Maz is obviously winning this round right now about Bobby Dahlbeck. And they were like, well, Maz's point was, how could the Red Sox come into this season without any like insurance at first base? Travis Shaw was your insurance, and now he's gone. He's not in the organization anymore. You can't call up Tristan Casas right away to be the savior. And I said the answer to that question is very simple. I think what Bobby Dahlbeck did in the second half of last year was extraordinary, and everyone wants, like, first impressions are huge. The first half of the season last year, he wasn't good. The second half of the season, he was great. And now he's not good again, and that might be putting it lightly. Jackie Bradley Jr., I feel like everyone just kind of like the overall numbers haven't been great, but like he's had like it's Jackie Bradley Jr. We're familiar with Jackie, and he'll have his streaks of being dreadful, and then he'll have his streaks of being the hottest hitter in the lineup.
We've seen it. Yeah, we've seen it this year. A little hot after the Yankees series, and lately he's kind of picked it up. He's swinging the bat at Fenway way better than he has on the road so far as well. But he's hitting about 200. Is there really any power there? Not really, besides some doubles. But it's not on JBJ, because when you got him, there was no expectation for him to hit. That Hunter Renfroe production, it goes back to Trevor Story. And I think that's really the face of where things are kind of turning right now, when it's not really all on him, but that seems to be where the media and the attention are zoning in.
Yeah. Like, and the other thing too, Kike Hernandez has been dreadful offensively, and he's just been skating because of what he gets. It all comes down for, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to me that Dahlbeck has gotten so much grief and no one ever says anything about Kike when Bob is getting paid league minimum, and Story, rightfully so, has not been good either. But it's like, all right, you're getting paid $140 million. Like, let's see some production. But then you also have Bob on the other end of the spectrum, homegrown talent that's making league minimum, and he's getting just as much grief as Trevor Story. And then you have Kike Hernandez, who's been worse than Trevor Story. Kike is hitting 182 with a 545 OPS. Trevor Story's hitting 202 with a 568 OPS. So he's been a little bit worse than Trevor Story. And then you have Bob, who's been the worst hitter on the team. So I don't know. I'm not sure why. Like, it seems to be like everyone has their thoughts about Jackie's offense from his first stint with the Red Sox. Story gets grief because of the contract. And then Bob will get grief, but no one's coming after Kike.
Yeah. Another guy I'd throw in there, it's Alex Verdugo as well.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone kind of remembers the start of the year. Verdugo was probably your hottest hitter, him and Devers. Verdugo has completely gone cold, and I give him credit. He kind of talked about it during that interview today, 20 minutes, whatever it was, where he's kind of said he was kind of shooting for too much power at that point. And he got away from, spraying the ball all over the field, which is the Alex Verdugo we like. We know he's not a guy who's going to hit a ton of bombs for you. Best case, we're hoping for something like 15 to 20, and just a lot of doubles. And that was his goal entering the year. It's scary to me when you look outside of the Bogarts, the Devers, and the JD Martinez, the truly elite guys in your lineup. Nobody can make an adjustment. There's no adjustments being made across the board. Trevor Story, I think part of it's pressing at this point. He looks so frustrated. He looks like he's trying so hard. And I don't even know if it's something you can exactly see on TV as much. Like being at the game the other day and just watching it. Every single pitch, even borderline stuff, it's getting to him. I think he's going to come out of it eventually, but that true pressing the Boston pressure, it's there. And props to Alex Cora for defending him on, was it strike 3 the other day? Probably. But trying to spark, you're trying to do something. But I look at even someone like Bobby Delbeck. All we talked about during spring training was the 2-strike approach. How many times did Alex Cora talk about that? How much that was a new mechanical change for him. It completely disappeared. It's gone. And I don't know if that's him just pressing. It's leaking into his defense. We're missing balls thrown directly at us? Really? Like, you can't survive like that. And unfortunately, they don't have any other options. You have Franchi Cordero, but Franchi's even worse defensively than Bobby is at this point. It just feels like outside of your elite players, nobody can make an adjustment. And I don't know if that's a coaching issue you want to look at, but something's not right there. It's very concerning.
Yeah. Jake, I know that you try to see the positive in this team. You predicted a sweep. Congratulations, you were correct. How has your viewing experience gone with the Red Sox since we last spoke?
Yeah. It's just different this year because I feel like even in 2012, like we knew that team was going to suck and they were getting blown out, and like just all the bad teams we've seen, we kind of have known that they were going to be pretty bad. But this team, it's like the way they lose too. Like they're losing 1-run games. Like we're getting our dicks kicked in every different possible way. So it's just it's defeating when you think you can win a game and you just lose night in and night out. So this one feels different.
It is crazy. Like they're now up to 9 blown saves. 9. And what's their record right now?
10-19.
10-19. Let's just say 7 of those 9 saves get converted. What's that make their record, Tyler?
I'm not good at math.
I thought you were supposed to be the nerd.
I'm good with I can break down analytical stats. You take 7, that'd be what, 17. I'm not going to pretend like I can do that off the top of my head here. Let's do some group math.
They'd have a winning record.
Yes.
Yeah. If I don't want to put it all on like the closer situation, but you have to believe that 9 blown saves in the second week of the second month of the season has a little something to do with it. Obviously the offense has taken a beating, and they should, because it's been it's again same thing we've been saying all along. It's JD, it's Raffy, and it's Xander. Outside of that, has anyone really done anything? No. Verdugo was in that group for a hot second, and then he's just kind of tapered off and fallen into the group of people that aren't doing anything offensively. But you don't have to win every game by 7 runs. And I'm now just kind of looking at that 9 blown saves, and like all you would hope for when you're going into that situation in on, what was it, Saturday, 1-0 ball game. Hansel Robles coming out to close that game, the face of the franchise. And I'm hoping in that spot that just, I don't think it's going to be 1-2-3. I'm not expecting it to be easy. It wasn't. I believe the leadoff batter reached on a walk. Was it a walk or base hit?
I believe it was a walk.
Walk, and then 2 bullets. Surprisingly, one of them ended up being an out. But it just, I think it was it you that made the point, Tyler, about how like Hansel Robles has been a little bit more hittable recently?
Yeah. Hey, did we not see it today? He got squared up. He got out. He didn't give anything up, but he's getting squared up. It was what did Garcia hit that ball that Christian Arroyo caught in right field? That was super deep.
Yes.
That was off Robles, correct?
Yeah.
I feel like I put that in the JD Martinez 9th inning double. If that's a regular day where the wind isn't blowing in, it's probably gone.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I even like prefaced it because at this point you just know you're conditioned to it. And I wanted to point out, I was like, hey, just when this game ends up inevitably in a Red Sox loss, I just want to point out that Nick Pivetta pitched his balls off today, and I don't want that to be forgotten when the Red Sox inevitably lose this game in dramatic fashion. And that's exactly what happened. Like, I tweeted that after he finished whatever it was, his 6th inning of work. 6 innings, shutout, 8 strikeouts. And he's pitching with the same emotion coming off the mound that he did in the postseason last year. And it's like, fuck yeah. Like, that's the Nick Pivetta that I saw last October. That's a dude that's pitching with balls and conviction. And to see him exit that game in a 1-0 ball game, having watched this team so far this year, that's not going to hold up. And it didn't hold up. Not only did Hansel Robles blow the save to make it 1-1. And then it's like, even when you go into the bottom of the 9th, now you're like, all right, we should have just won that. The game should be over. It was 1-0. The Red Sox had the lead in the 9th. You have, I guess, one of your best bullpen options on the mound. Game should be over. Red Sox win this game 1-0. All right, now it's tied. Now you're going to the bottom. And then once you get to extras with like that extra runner, for whatever reason, the Red Sox, like whenever we get to extra innings and the extra runner is introduced to the equation, Red Sox are losing that game. I want to say they're like 0-4, 0-5 in extra inning games so far this year.
0-6 now.
0-6. Fuck yeah.
But even on top of it, it's like that 9th inning on Saturday was just the perfect example of what this season was, where you have someone in Hansel Robles who should just not be pitching in a closer role like that. But once again, this is where you are. They have a fine group of arms. They're just missing an anchor at the back, and it's clear, and we've seen that since Garrett Whitlock's come out of that equation. But on top of it, you get to the bottom of the 9th, and guess what? Jackie Bradley Jr. comes through. Christian Vasquez comes through. Like, this is what you haven't had. The bottom of the lineup's doing something. And you can't do a single anything about it. Bobby Delbeck, man, please, anything. Just lift the ball, pop out. Like the worst at bat you could. And, actually, sorry, let me save that. The worst at bat went to the next guy, Trevor Story, who then popped out. It's just that kind of stuff. It's exactly the issues with this team. And whether you want to say the weakness of the bottom of the lineup, the weakness in the bullpen, or the garbage approaches we've seen throughout the entire season, with Trevor Story popping up the first pitch. The first pitch. Like, you just can't live like that. We saw that in the ninth today with Christian Vasquez, right after JD. Juices are flowing. They have a chance. Maybe they can steal this one, and we don't feel horrendous going into, the next off day. Nope. That just kind of starts the end of a rally killer.
Yeah, I want Trevor Story to do well. I have no ammo, none. Like, when I'm watching these games and I'm just getting absolutely flamed on Twitter, I've got nothing to say back. I don't even really look at my mentions much now.
No,
I'm like, what is the point?
My quote tweets are destroyed. I did my chirping when they signed Trevor Story, laughing at the Yankees fans who pretended like they didn't get all excited and said they were going to get him for a year if they didn't get Correa. They found those tweets. And, what can you say?
Yeah.
You just kind of tip your hat because you're sitting there. Not only is it rough at the plate, he had a ball in Saturday's game that he should have got to that just kind of went off his glove and he didn't make the play. There's something he's mentally, it's getting to him a little bit. And I don't blame him. This is a very hard environment to play in. And when you go from playing in Colorado to here, could you name two more different environments in baseball? The guy said he had never even heard the home crowd boo him before.
Mm-hmm.
That's just part of being here.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to get laughed at. You're going to get shit on, whatever it may be here and there when you're going through it. It's just, it feels like that entire wave that some of these first year guys who have come here and really kind of fell on their face, it's getting on him very quickly.
I did see Dan Shaughnessy took exception to Trevor Story not meeting with the media.
Spare me.
I want to say, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe I would have agreed and been like, yeah, you got to face the music. Like, it's part of being accountable. But I guess, I don't know, was it Alex Spear who said that?
All you had to do was click on the link of your colleague, Dan Shaughnessy, and you see he was in the batting cage trying to figure it out after the game.
Right. Like, what's more important? Being accountable with Dan Shaughnessy, or after going 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts, immediately getting in the cage and trying to figure something out?
I'm sure Dan Shaughnessy would have helped him start catching up to some of that velocity, without a doubt. He really would have guided him in the right direction there.
Yeah.
He doesn't always, come on. I feel like he's been pretty open since he got here about a lot of the stuff going on. He doesn't seem like a dude who runs from the media or who is scared of it. He's just trying to figure it out. That's it. But when teams are in this bad of a spot, this is when narratives and stories and you're hearing this and that come out of thin air, and it's, it builds and it builds and it builds, and it's an ugly spot. We see the Xander Bogart stuff that came out over the last couple days. I think it was right after we finished recording the last episode, actually, Jared, where, his friend Scott Boras.
Oh my God.
Shout out Scott Boras.
To talk about that. That was I think that story came out the day that we dropped the podcast.
30 minutes after, I'm pretty sure that's when it all came out.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk about that too. Cause I got some fucking thoughts about that story.
It's just piling. It feels like everything's piling. And we haven't even mentioned the injuries and the stuff that's popped up the last, 48 hours, basically.
Right. Yeah. There's some things. There's some things that we have to discuss. It sucks. There's nothing, especially, fucking Pat Light not here today. We could have talked about him blowing $6,000 on fucking Willie Mo Pena, whatever the name of the horse was. No Pete today. Anyways, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball, that would be the DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets no matter what, win or lose. Looking to turn a small bet into a big payday during MLB season? With DraftKings same game parlays, you can do just that. Just create your own parlay by combining multiple bets, like which team will win, how many bases will be stolen, total runs, and more. It's your shot at an even bigger payout. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the promo code Jared, Jared. Bet just $5 and get $150 in free bets no matter what happens on the field. That is promo code Jared at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. MLB trademarks used with permission. So I hate how this team makes me feel on a day-to-day basis, and I feel like this is the group to have this discussion with, because I know that you guys are watching all 162, and I know for me, the success or failures of the Boston Red Sox greatly impact my mood on a day-to-day basis. When the Red Sox are playing as poorly as they are right now, like, I just feel like my fucking nuts are cut off. Like, I don't have there's no like swagger behind my personality. There's just like, it just sucks the life out of my day. And especially being someone that doesn't really have any interests outside of the Red Sox, whenever I see someone that I haven't seen in a while, they'll say like, what's up with the Red Sox, before they say like, how are things with you? How are things going with you? They'll be like, man, the fucking Red Sox, huh? And then you got to talk about how fucking terrible they are. Or even just like last night, I like went out to like a bar, and you're walking around the bar and it's like, what's up, man? What's going on? Fucking Red Sox, huh? It's like, yeah. So it just kind of, whenever the Red Sox are this bad, and like, this obviously isn't my first rodeo doing this podcast for a shit Red Sox team. People that want to say, you leaving is the reason why the Red Sox are playing poorly. Learn your Section 10 history, because Section 10 was born during a last place season. That was 2015. They were in dead last that season. So I think, I'm hoping at this point, I'm like, if you were to ask me, are they going to make the playoffs this year? It seems unlikely at this juncture. I don't know. Like, I just want to win a fucking game. I just want to remember what it feels like to win a game. Maybe even, I'm not trying to get greedy here, maybe even consecutive games. Maybe a series. I don't know. I would love to win a series, but I'll just take a game at this point. Are you guys also like that, where if the Red Sox are so bad, you just can't even exist?
Yeah, I'm at the point, kind of going back to last episode, I'm sending out the most sad, concerning, bad tweets ever. It's almost timely. Just look at the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. You'll see I'm dead inside. I have nothing left. I'm talking about jumping off the monster head first. Twitter still doesn't care. Nobody has reported any of these tweets to make sure I'm okay. But it's a lot of what you kind of said, Jared, where every single person that comes up to you, oh, how's those Sox?
Mm-hmm.
Tough times for your team, huh, Milliken? If I hear that at the Sports Hub one more damn time, I'm going to lose my mind. Oh, nice weekend the Sox had. Beetle at the Red Sox
nice baseball team. Yeah.
Yep,
nice baseball team you got there.
God, it's just, it's ugly. And, I'm getting DMs from the hometown buddies. How can you fix them? It's a lot of problems to fix right now, unfortunately. And doesn't seem like the Red Sox have any answers. And, we can try to give them, but just not looking good.
Yeah. Jake?
I think it especially sucks for me this year because, like, even with starting Section 10 during the lockout, like with Barstool, I did like 10 episodes before we came here, and like I was just so pumped for the season to start because I'm like, all right, producing Section 10, like this is sick. Like, just imagine how cool it's going to be once the baseball season starts and we do 2 episodes a week, and then it finally starts and they're just awful. So yeah, definitely a big letdown.
How about we switch to we can still talk about this White Sox series. We'll finish. We'll talk about it a little more because there's other things we got to talk about there. But let's talk about Jake's first experience on the field at Fenway Park as a credentialed member of the media. Jake, that was a big day for you. I mean, obviously the Red Sox lost because they lose every game. But Friday, we got you on the field before the game, batting practice. You're in the Red Sox dugout. Xander Bogaerts coming up to Jake being like, man, huge fan. And it was, talk to me about it. Take me through your emotions.
Yeah, I mean, me and Bogey go way back, so that one wasn't that big of a deal. But
Yeah.
no, it was crazy because obviously I've been to Fenway hundreds of times, and growing up, you always wonder what it'd be like to step on the field, and let alone meet some of the players. So when we walked right onto the field, I think Bob was the first guy we saw right in the dugout.
Mm-hmm.
Jared was talking to him. He's like, "This is Jake." I was like, "Hey, what's up, Bob?" He's like, he was like, "I'm Bob." I was like, "Yeah, I know, dude."
I know.
And then but meeting him and then just seeing Rafi, like everyone knows how happy he is, but just like seeing him up in person, just like still so bubbly and just having so much fun, even though like we sucked this year. It was sick. Matt Barnes was talking to us for a bit. That was super cool. But yeah, man, just being on the field is just something I've always wanted to do. So that was definitely awesome.
Yeah. Did you get you were in the dugout, right? I feel like I should. I was so bad. I should have taken a picture of Jake in the dugout. We can next time we go, we can pretend that it was your first time, and I'll take a picture of you in the dugout.
Yeah, we'll get more chances for sure. I was chilling the dugout a little bit. I don't think I like went down there and sat down, but sort of towards the top of it.
Were you nervous, Jake?
Honestly, not really. Like I just kind of figured like just act like how you normally do. Like everyone's a person. Like you can meet like super famous people, and they're all just guys like you at the end of the day. So but it was definitely surreal just actually being that close to them and hearing them talk firsthand.
Who was your favorite person to talk to?
Jarren Duran was funny.
Yeah.
He had just found out that he was leading off and was he sat and talked with Jared for a while. Steve was there too. Saw and met Steve for the first time. We were pretty much telling Jarren that Steve's getting like full tats on his arms and just had that joke going for like 20 straight minutes, and he had no idea that it was even a joke. He's like, "Let me see it." Steve was like, "Nah, dude, like it's still healing." But yeah, it was cool to talk to him for that long, knowing he was about to lead off.
Yeah, I mean, it was like an hour and a half before first pitch, and he was just chilling, talking to us about Steve getting a tattoo sleeve that he clearly did not and will never have. Yeah, that was cool. Have you been on the field yet, Tyler?
No, never. So that would be a new experience for me.
All right, well, maybe we'll have to get that going. I can't imagine that this is the catch-22 is I can't imagine there are going to be a ton of interview requests for this team because they're so bad. But then I also can't imagine that many players will want to be like, yeah, let's fucking chop it up, dude. Like,
yeah,
let's talk about whatever. Like, I know, like, even in like 2019, it sucked because like 2018 was the first year that we got press passes. Then 2019, we were like, yeah, let's ride the wave of 2018. And then it was very quickly an awkward and uncomfortable situation that season. Like, luckily, like, there were like a couple of guys. Like, I think I did one with Barnes. I did one with Benintendi. But, I mean, Benintendi wasn't doing good that year either. The team wasn't. And we just kind of talked about 2018 and before. It's like, all right, yeah, I'm not here to talk to you about, you're hitting fucking 187 over your last 33 games. Like, I'm not. So yeah, hopefully it, like, I don't think it's going to turn around to the point where like, damn, the Red Sox are chasing down first place, but I'm hoping it turns around a little bit so that it's just not so awkward. Like, fuck, the first time that I ever had press passes was in 2012. And I've told this story before, but like, I went in the clubhouse and that it was, I think it was like August maybe. And by that point, everyone was so goddamn miserable. Everyone just wanted to go home. Like, being in that clubhouse was comparable to being at a wake, but like you didn't know anyone there. Like, you didn't even know the person who died, and you didn't know any like the family or anything like that. It was just like, why am I here? This is so uncomfortable. That's what the Red Sox clubhouse felt like in 2012. I don't want to ever experience that ever again. And I would imagine that Bobby Valentine being the manager at the time didn't help things. I would imagine that Alex Cora being the manager of this team, at least the vibes are never going to be that bad. But I don't know. Like it's such a damn struggle where, talking to some guys on this team who have confidence that things are going to get better, and then talking to other guys that you can tell it's not that they lack personal confidence, but are like, do we suck? Like,
is it do we suck as in we don't have enough, or is it we're just finding out now this isn't going to work? Like, is it a do we suck? We felt like we didn't have the same ammo as the Blue Jays, the Rays, or the Yankees.
Yeah, I think it was more of like a, we were good last year. Why are we bad now? Like a confusion. Like, I expected us to be good, and I feel like we're not. And not like, do we suck? Is this a bad stretch, or are we bad? Like, I think that was kind of more just the vibe of their feelings. But then there are other guys on the team that are just like, yeah, no, we're good. Like, we're a good team, and like we're gonna play good baseball at some point. And it's like, all right, well, when? Fuck.
Like, it just get to the point where Rafael Devers isn't sitting in the dugout after the game with his head in his hands. I don't think I've ever seen a more heartbreaking photo. Like, Devers just sitting there. Like, I haven't seen someone look so defeated. And he's one of the few guys playing well. Like, this is a guy who's putting the team on his back to some degree, at least when they do score. And even he's sitting there, and Bogarts had a quote a couple days ago saying, I can't believe this offense can't score. Like, it feels like they just don't have answers right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what scares me even more for the interviews is considering Heim and how he views a lot of stuff. If this continues over the next, couple months and they're sitting in fourth place, I won't accept them being worse than the Orioles. I know where we are right now. I won't accept it.
No, you can't be worse than the Orioles.
You can't. If you're in fourth place and you're just not in the wild card race whatsoever, what guys will be left?
So I've not let this thought enter my brain.
I'm sorry.
And I don't want to go here right now. But if the Red Sox really feel like they can't extend or re-sign because there's going to be no contract talks during the season, if they are so far out of it and they feel like things have gotten so piss poor with the relationship with Xander Bogaerts, I do not want to be around if they are like, we're going to trade Xander Bogaerts. If that happens, I want nothing to do with being around that fucking team. Like, the fan base will have every right to revolt. Like, I get, like, from a baseball perspective, right? Like, if you're an executive and you're trying to win a championship and you have this player who is incredibly valuable and talented, and you're convinced that there's no way that they're going to play for your baseball team beyond the end of this year, and your season is over by the trade deadline, does it make baseball sense to then trade that player to acquire assets for them? Yes. But in the case of Xander Bogaerts, after lowballing him with an insult of an offer, coming off of having to trade Mookie Betts for financial reasons, it would be very tough to come back from. Like, it's such a weird dynamic with this ownership group because they've won 4 championships after 86 years of 0 championships, but their approval rating doesn't stand very high in the city of Boston. And
it feels like it's as bad as it's been right now. And while I don't think it's entirely deserved for in a lot of ways, Bogaerts, Betts is different. I think a lot of people don't look at the baseball logic when it came to Betts, like you've kind of said, Jared, with the money and the luxury tax. With Bogaerts, it's just everything, including letting Mookie walk. It was supposed to be so something like this didn't happen again. And considering what we are hearing over the last week, how much you want to buy into it, that's up to you. You're continuing to go down that path. And it's not just him. it's JD, it's Nate Eovaldi. It's like truly the wave of dependable kind of face of the franchise-ish star guys. Those are the ones whose names are going to rise to the top here. And that will just cloud them. Whether it's in June and we're waiting until the trade deadline, that's going to be if they're out of contention, that's the story. That's what it'll be. Yeah. That and how Trevor Story's playing.
Yep. So, man, the vibes have never been worse. They can't win a game. That Saturday game where they blew it in the ninth and then ultimately go on to lose the game. Just seeing Devers sitting in the dugout with like his head down, just like not moving. Like, that's terrible. That's terrible. Like, I can only imagine how frustrating it must be for someone specifically. Like, let's put ourselves in the shoes of Rafael Devers. Like, you just had a frustrating offseason of extension negotiations. You idolize Xander Bogaerts, who's going through an even worse situation because at least Devers has one more year after this. Bogaerts is up or can opt out after this season. So the guy that you want to share the left side of the infield with, he might be gone. And now you're questioning whether you even want to be here. And now you're even less happy because of the nature of the contract negotiations, because the team has played so poorly. And it's not because of him. Like, it's not like he's struggling and everyone's like, damn, if only Devers could get it going, then maybe the Red Sox could get it going. Devers is doing everything that he possibly can. He's played above average defense for a guy that has gotten a lot of flack for his defensive ability at third base. He's made noticeable strides defensively. And offensively, he's been outstanding because he always has been. And to not, both of those guys, Xander and Devers, to not let the distraction of the contract talks going sour affect your play going into the season. They've both been consistently great to start the year. And I mean, those are the two guys besides Julio that you cannot blame for the Red Sox being in the position that they're in right now. And JD is another guy that we don't even talk about having no contract after this year. Like, all the contract talk is about Xander and Devers. JD also will be a free agent after this year. So it's just crazy. The only three players on the team that you cannot blame for the Red Sox sucking are all just like, hey, can someone pay us to stay here? Like, it's crazy.
And that's the tough part. And I feel like it bleeds through, like that Alex Verdugo comment we saw, about a week ago. I think everybody's just wondering, for a franchise that's, seemingly was on the upswing after last year, it felt like something was building. The most important guys in that clubhouse, the leaders, the foundation, none of them know where they're going.
Right.
And I think the guys who surround them and, work off those guys, look up to those guys, lean on those guys, as the best players, as the more mature guys in the clubhouse are saying, well, if they're not being taken care of and we don't know what's going to happen to them, what the hell's going to happen to us? And
I'm pretty sure, too, that on the Peacock broadcast, they specifically named, like, they're like, yeah, like, they've got leaders on this team, like JD Martinez and Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Devers. Like, those are the guys. And it's like, yeah, kind of awkward, but yeah.
And it's just that if those guys, and I give them credit, those are the elite of the elite, they're going to perform no matter what. It trickles down. It all has a trickle down effect. And that's where I think some blame, beyond just the roster construction, which I called out Bloom for. I know some people were stunned that I could criticize him, but there's bad PR. There's just bad energy surrounding a lot of this team. And like you said, the vibes have never been worse. And
never been worse.
It's like the moment I kind of look back to is that Bogaerts presser, right before opening day. And it feels like it's kind of just grown since then.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, it's bad. It's bad. And I know that, like, people listen to this podcast because they're like, all right, yeah, give me some hope. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I think what I was saying a week or two ago was the hope. And that being like, well, like the pitching has been pretty good, and I think it's sustainable. And then you have the offense that hasn't been good, but I don't think that they're going to be this bad. All right, well then let's see some fucking improvement. We haven't seen it. And the longer it continues, I think the more difficult it's going to be for some of these guys to dig out of this hole, because I think you made the point about it being mental. Like with Bob and Verdugo and Story and some of these guys, I mean, some of them just, I mean, like Jackie, you know what you're going to get. Like he wasn't brought here for his offense. He was brought here for his defense. And, you know, he threw out that runner at the plate on Friday night. You know, you see it with Jackie. Like, your purpose is served. You know what you're going to get with Jackie. But with some of these other guys, Kike, like, we need to see it. We need to see it. They're not this bad. If you look at the numbers for those guys that I just named, they're not this bad. And collectively, when they suck like this, it drags the entire team down. And having Kike be that guy at the top of the order last year that was the party starter, and not saying that the Red Sox lineup was relentless top to bottom, but it was a lot better from the top part. And you're just not getting that this year. So until they kind of figure that out offensively, and I mean, like, where are you going to go get a closer? It's fucking May. You know, like the whole thing was maybe the Red Sox can tread water. And then when you get to July, maybe you can go out and, you know, plug some holes and make an addition here, make an addition there. You have 9 fucking blown saves already. 9. And I'm not saying that if you had a half decent closer that he would have saved all 9 games. Like we just saw fucking Romano blew a save against Houston. Even like some of the best closers over there, they'll blow a save here and there. So, like, you know, let's say they have a top 10 closer. Do you save 7 of 9, 6 of 9? If you save those games, it's totally different if the Red Sox are not in position to win these games. They have put themselves in a position to win 9 games that they did not win because of blown saves. So, yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know what the narrative would be had, you know, let's say Matt Barnes was first half Matt Barnes again, and you save 7 of those 9 games, and you've got a winning record, and it's like, oh, the Yankees are still better because they won 11 straight. It's like, well, at least we're having a conversation about being in the conversation. I think that's all that people wanted. I don't think that the expectations coming into the season were not the Red Sox have to win the fucking division, because everyone was blowing the Toronto Blue Jays. No one was talking about the Yankees winning the division this year. That was not the narrative. It was the Toronto Blue Jays are you know, a mega power,
a tier above.
Yeah, like they're just better. Well, guess what? The Yankees are really fucking good. The Rays are good, and the Blue Jays are good, and you're not, to the point where the Orioles are better than you right now. The fucking Orioles.
Poverty franchise behavior.
And it's not even close. It's fucking the Orioles. The Orioles have a 1.5 lead on the Red Sox.
Of course. It's just like when you look around, you just had to be 500 or somewhere close to it. Just hope and cross your fingers, tread water. That was it. You're 10-19. You're nowhere near 500. You'd have to win 9 straight to get to 500. Like, you're at the point in the year where you have to have basically a 600 winning percentage from this point on. They're going to you know, get to 90 wins. They're going to have to play almost perfect baseball. And you look, hey, Chris Sale, it's going to be another month. James Paxton, it's going to be another month, at least. Help isn't coming.
Michael Wacha to the injured list.
Who's been your best starter this year?
Best starter.
And now it's back to the point. You have Tanner Houck in there today. And props to the bullpen, they found a way. You're getting him for like 40 pitches, you know, and we're not even getting through 3 innings. Like, all these arms are getting put in different positions because you didn't do enough during the offseason in that department. And you had time. You know, I'm so sick of people saying, well, Chris Sale got hurt. Congrats when the lockout ended, right?
Right.
Did you not have time? You signed Trevor Story. You couldn't find something? Like, there were so many avenues to kind of try and find a middle ground here, and you didn't. You put Band-Aids and you hope for the best. It's bad. Your cuts are infected. This team's rotting out right now. And you say it 1,000 times. You can't win it in April, but you can lose it. Being 10 back in your own division on, what is it, May 8th?
May 8th.
You can feel it on the team when, you went into the 9th inning and you had Robles out there. Everyone could feel it. Everybody. And then, I'm so sick of seeing Matt Barnes get pushed into these spots. It's unfair. It's pretty cruel. It's obvious, and I'll give him his credit. Friday, there was some optimism. He hit 95, 96. He's continuing to get out there in some of the most high leverage spots, a lot of the times in the 10th inning. And talk about getting your dick kicked in. Imagine just not being able to be the guy who you were, and then you're getting embarrassed on the stage in front of everybody in the big moments.
It's bad.
Cruel. It's mean. It's a lack of depth, and it just shines through. How can you put that guy out there again and again? It's not even competitive most of the time. Like when he came in the 10th on Saturday, it was 2 pitches? Mm-hmm. 2 pitches. Like, come on.
Also, I've seen some people with this take. I'm almost starting to agree with it. And I didn't think I would end up here. But the games that Garrett Whitlock has started, they've lost all of them. What if Garrett Whitlock was just your closer? Would the Red Sox have a winning record? I can't sit here and tell you that it definitively they would. I can't say that. But what I can say is that it makes more sense to me at this point, being able to pinpoint one of the biggest problems with this team being the 9 blown saves, knowing that you have this weapon in your bullpen that you're using as an opener, and then it's not his fault, obviously, because he's been great in the games that he has started, but what the fuck's the point if you're trotting out slapdicks to blow the game once he comes out of the game? I would rather deploy a weapon like Garrett Whitlock at the back end to secure a victory than waste him essentially for 4 shutout innings, knowing that God knows what's going to happen the next 5. He could come out and dominate for 4 innings to start a game. Fine, no problem. But what the fuck's the point if the rest of the bullpen gives up fucking 5-6 runs after he comes out? You've just wasted him.
And
again.
It's just one game, and your starting pitching has been your biggest strength. You can go, 16 starts back, the last 16 games. It's a sub-2 ERA from your rotation.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, Waka being on the injured list hurts. I guess it was a retroactive stint, and they're still expecting him to make his start against Texas. I guess we'll see. They're just being cautious with him. But I don't know. It seems, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but it seems like a pretty obvious tweak to make, where I would much rather have, instead of Garrett Whitlock starting games, pitching 4 innings as an opener, I would rather have him pitching 2 innings at the back end of games that the Red Sox have a lead in, so that they can fucking win a goddamn baseball game. Please.
And it's a guy who goes out there, he's not going to walk the room. And I think that's some of the reason people have been calling for Matt Strom a little bit too, who I think looked good in the 9th inning. He should get more time out there compared to the group you got right now, someone who can kind of work in that. But that's it. It's great. And trust me, starters have more value over the course of the season. That's the analytical argument you'll hear 1,000 times. For this roster construction, it's not, because you need someone multiple days a week who can come in there. I'm not talking the 2 or 3 inning role he played, last year, where he'd kind of come in and finish it, or even at the beginning of this year. You just need someone who can go out there in the 9th and you don't have to think twice, who's going to dominate. Maybe he blows 1 or 2 of those, 9 we've talked about. But like you said, if you have someone dependable there, you can make it through with the starter. I think Tanner Houck, I like Tanner Houck. The stuff has taken a step back this year. Stats had a great tweet on it today. Out of the bullpen even. And we're talking, 3 innings. It's been a little rough. Put him out back into the rotation. We don't like when he comes out of the bullpen, it's usually not great. Today, he wasn't fully stretched out. I don't think you saw what you saw. But just Houck isn't having him in a multi-inning role in the bullpen versus Whitlock in the bullpen, and then Houck back in a starter role, I think is just what makes sense for them. And the biggest grievance you can have is, when you look at Garrett Whitlock, is he should be in the rotation. If you didn't have to think about any context, he'd be probably him and Nate Eovaldi leading the top of your rotation. But once again, the Red Sox, you didn't do enough.
Yep.
You shouldn't be having this conversation. A guy that good shouldn't be in the bullpen, but your poor roster construction is why he needs to be. That's the bottom line of the conversation.
Yeah, I did see someone did I can do it right now actually. The Heim additions versus the previous GM additions.
Was it for the lineup?
Yeah.
Matt McCarthy?
I don't know. Maybe.
He had a similar tweet out there grouping, basically wasn't super accurate, typical Matt McCarthy. Love him, but Matt McCarthy. He's grouping in guys that aren't, you really can't categorize as Heim guys exactly. And
right.
Or even Dombrowski guys, really. Yeah. But, he has a narrative
Verdugo's brother saw it and was not pleased.
What did he end up saying? It was that the one where he talked about how many
he responded with a clown emoji.
Yeah. I respond to a lot of McCarthy's tweets like that too, so I don't blame him.
Yeah.
It's just at the end of I'm not gonna some people putting Alex Verdugo and Kike Hernandez on Heim. We know what those guys are. We saw what Kike Hernandez was last year.
Right.
Alex Verdugo, you've seen even last year in a down year was slightly above average at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
These guys aren't, below replacement level players like they've been.
No. Then I just saw Mookie had a monster game last night. What's he up to? He's modest. 255, 800 OPS.
Yeah, slow start from him, but he's been heating up the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Don't read me Andrew Benintendi stats, please.
Well, he's one of the high BABIP guys.
Thank you. Someone with context.
Yes.
The classic Andrew Benintendi.
I love Benintendi, though.
I do too, but he's a slightly above average outfielder. Barely. That's what Andrew Benintendi is. But I love the guy. People overrate him here. I think that's a fair take. People act like he was not, like he was 2018
like he got mixed
Benintendi.
reviews here.
I feel like today I see a lot of people complaining about him not being here when he wouldn't have cracked your outfield last year. And that's just reality because you signed a guy in Hunter Renfroe for $3 million who outperformed him considerably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We haven't seen Julio in the outfield this year, right?
No.
Not once.
Well, considering the adductor stuff too.
Right.
Please, no.
Are they this bad? Are they this bad?
No, they're not this bad, but things are spiraling very quickly. And unfortunately, when the strength of your team doesn't come through, the parts of your team that were or, good enough start to look like bigger holes as well.
Mm.
And that's kind of it. Like we said, the bullpen, the blown saves are bad. Don't get me wrong. But are they, if you just read that blown save stat and you thought about the Red Sox bullpen, overall, they haven't been that bad.
No.
It's just been, unfortunately, there's no breathing room on a regular basis, and there's no one to depend on at the end of the games. So that's where it shows up a lot of the times. But, if you're looking for what to be mad about with this team, it's the offense.
It is the offense, isn't it?
And it should figure itself out. We keep saying that, but will it?
I mean,
it has to be better than this.
Yes and no. Like, I'm going to keep saying his name. Kike's better than this.
Alex Verdugo is better than this.
Alex Verdugo is better than this.
Trevor Story is better than this.
Trevor Story is better than this. So there you go. Jackie is what he is. I think Bob's Bob's not this bad. This is insane.
Sub 500 OPS right now.
It's like he's better than this.
I think he's at the point where he might be so broken and overexposed, he might need time in Worcester to figure it out. Because he looks defeated.
He does.
And I feel bad. It's, once again, you should have had more protection there. You just should have. Newly retired Travis Shaw is not enough, or wasn't enough protection for you. I'm sorry.
I would agree. I'm trying to combine some of these bullpen guys.
Doesn't it say something when Franchi's at bats look so much better than Bob's?
Yeah.
And it's no disrespect to Frenchie. I think he's made some strides, but I think it's a considerable difference.
So I'm pulling it together right now. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 relievers. Seven. This is Garrett Whitlock, Hansel Robles, Ryan Brazier, Austin Davis, Matt Strom, Hirokazu Sawamura, Jake Diekman. 7 relievers. They've combined for 87 innings, 97 strikeouts, a 2.48 ERA, and a 1.08 whip. And I get it. I'll remove Garrett Whitlock because that's what everyone's saying right now. Those are heavily aided by Garrett Whitlock, who's been otherworldly. All right, so I take out Garrett Whitlock. So now we have the 6 relievers: Robles, Brazier, Davis, Strom, Sawamura, Diekman. 65 and a third innings, 68 strikeouts, a 2.89 ERA, and a 1.2 whip. Like, that's a 9.37 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's pretty good when you have, like, I just grouped together 6 Red Sox relievers and did not include Garrett Whitlock to aid the overall numbers. That's pretty good. So I guess that's just why when the nerds want to have the conversation about the closer role and be like, well, it doesn't matter. You just put your best reliever in there and then they can get the outs, blah, blah. Like, no, there is something to it because we just showed you 7 relievers in the Red Sox bullpen who have been getting it done. 7 guys. And no one's perfect. No one has a perfect bullpen. But if I told you right now that I could put 7 individuals in the Red Sox bullpen and they would have a sub-3 ERA and a whip around 1-ish and a strikeouts per 9 hovering around 10, you'd be like, sign me the fuck up for that. Of course you would.
Yeah, along with the rotation. That's been one of the best in all of baseball.
Yeah. Like, now, and by the way, I didn't even include Kevin Plawecki, who's been the best reliever for the Red Sox this year.
Thank you.
So now I take Michael Wacha. I'm going to take Rich Hill, Nathan Eovaldi, and I'm going to leave out Nick Pivetta. So that's 3 starters. I mean, I guess, should I put in Whitlock as a starter?
It's like Whitlock, Houck, Fuse. Obviously, it's going to kind of muddy the numbers, but yeah, let's throw Whitlock in there. That's where they are.
Whitlock. Okay. So those 4 guys. A 2.18 ERA, a 0.96 whip. The strikeouts per 9 isn't overwhelming, but 101 strikeouts in 103 and a third innings. So almost a strikeout per inning. Pretty fucking good. That's 4 of your rotation pieces. Assuming that we're viewing Garrett Whitlock as a starter, which at this juncture, I would say I wouldn't. Like, you don't want to mess around with the guy, but you've identified one of your major flaws that you can actually do something about. Because offensively, you can't just point at Kike Hernandez and Bobby Dahlbeck and Jackie Bradley and Trevor Story and say, hit more home runs. Stop striking out, hit better. Hit the ball harder. You can't do that. But what you can do is take an opener and make him a back end of the bullpen guy. And you can fix the 9 blown saves problem. You can do that.
The guy who was one of the best relievers in all of baseball last year. Dominated. Was there for you in the playoffs in big moments as well. It's just, it seems like at this point, the Red Sox, there hasn't been much of a plan there. It seems They're kind of doing it by their hip, and it's not working. It's cost them in a lot of different spots, and now Wacha going down. It seemed like they were finally about to reshuffle things and get in a better spot. Not getting that now.
No. So I guess there's reason to, not lose hope completely, but you're also trusting that the Red Sox are going to do something with Whitlock to kind of plug the hole with the blown saves thing. But I don't know. Like, is the Red Sox organization, do they come off as a front office that's stubborn and unwilling to admit fault early? Like, I think that, we've seen it with, like, Bobby Dahlbeck, for example, at first base. how long do they let that go on before they put Franchi in there full time? Or now it's a platoon, so you have lefty righty. Or you're going to call up Tristan Cassis to try and fix the first base issue. Like they'll give long leashes to things that aren't working out right now. But for the bullpen thing, it's so egregious. If the Red Sox blew a save on Sunday when they got swept, if they blew a save, they would have twice as many blown saves as the next closest team. It's a big issue, and you have an asset to correct the issue. So what is the issue? I guess that's where the fucking Chris Sale and James Paxton injuries fuck us the most. Which now you have Chris Sale. I don't know, so I don't want to like be like, what the fuck? I don't know what's going on with Chris Sale. It seems like it was.
Oh, Jared, you don't have a Dan Shaughnessy theory?
What did he say?
He believes they are lying because of his vaccination status. That was
the fuck does that matter?
Heim declined and said that wasn't the case. He wouldn't admit what it was, but that's not the case. He actually wrote a whole article talking about why he thought that could somehow be it, even though now he's scheduled to come back at the end of June. Well, they go to Toronto at the end of June. So I don't see the logic. The column didn't make any sense, but Dan Shaughnessy wrote it.
I mean, it could be like a mental health thing for all we know. And wouldn't that make way more sense if like this dude has been a dominant pitcher in Major League Baseball for years, and then he gets hurt last year, and he's got to or the year before, he's got to get Tommy John surgery. He's got to sit on the sidelines for a year and a half. And I'm sure that there is especially for a competitor of Chris Sale's caliber, an overwhelming sense of guilt getting paid $30 million to do nothing. Like I'm sure that there's some players, Pablo Sandoval, that have no problem getting paid the full salary to do dick. And then there's guys like Chris Sale, who I'm sure that eats him alive to get paid a massive amount of money and then not be able to contribute on the field. So after having the Tommy John surgery, missing a year and a half, coming back, and then now having a setback so that the same exact thing happens this year, you're missing the first half of this season. I'm sure that, like, I don't know. Like, I haven't talked to anyone. No one said anything to me privately, whatever. I don't know that it's a mental health thing with Chris Sale because they said it's like a non-injury or non-COVID or whatever setback. That must be, we know how competitive Chris Sale is, how discouraging and what type of negative effect that must have on someone's mental health whose brain kind of works that way. So I don't know. I mean, again, like I think it's just, calling myself out here, it's just as unfair to speculate that it's a mental health thing than Dan Shaughnessy saying that it's a vaccination status thing.
Listen,
we don't know. We don't know.
He has a narrative to push. And, like you're saying, Jared, I don't want to attach anything to Chris Sale because, he'll talk on it. He seems extremely open, and I'll give him his credit. But there's one quote, and I think at the time a lot of us said it, that interview when he talked about the rib injury afterwards was dark. Like the way he kind of described where his mind had been at points during Tommy John recovery and all that. He said, I forgot that I was almost a baseball player. He's like, I remember he described the specific moment where he showed up, this spring, he saw Nick Pivetta, him and, Pivetta are shooting the shit, whatever. And Pivetta goes to grab his glove and Sale's like, where are you going? He goes, I'm going to go play catch. And Sale sat there. He was like, at that moment, I realized I had forgotten that, like, I'm a pitcher. Like, I'm a baseball player. I'm a guy who's supposed to be getting ready to make 30 starts, to be the ace, the bulldog. Who knows? You know what I mean? And it sucks, man. Chris Sale, we know what he is. He is one of the, greatest pitchers of his generation. What he did when he got here, before the injuries popped up and different stuff. And with the contract, which it's the only thing that's ever attached to his name. And, Chris Sale, like you said, he's the last guy you should ever look at and say, oh, he's stealing money, whatever it may be. He'd do anything to get out there. And this is the guy. He said he was willing to start throwing before that rib was even close to healed. He didn't give a fuck. Right. Whatever. I'll go out there and see what happens to me. And why in the first place is his elbow probably in this state? The dude was giving it. It was giving all continuously for years for a poverty White Sox organization out there every single day. Heavy innings workloads. Like, this guy gave it all out there. And we're seeing he's paying some of it back now with these injuries and stuff like that. But the last thing Chris Sale has ever been is a quitter or someone who's trying to get out of stuff. And, the Red Sox are pushing him a whole month back for a 3-game series. Nice logic.
Yeah,
it's a narrative, simply.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like Dan will throw these ridiculous takes out there just because he doesn't want it to come off like he's the mouthpiece for the organization, because Linda Pizzuti owns the Boston Globe. Dan works the Boston Globe. He doesn't want to be a guy that seems like he's muzzled because he's working for a newspaper company that is owned by the wife of the owner of the Boston Red Sox, which I get. I think if I was in his position, I would want to show that I still have my edge and that I can still say what I feel and that no one's telling me not to say certain things. But this was a reach.
Just try to make it line up. That's all I ask. If you're going to have a theory, make it make sense.
Yeah, this was a major reach. But if you want to reach out and get some fucking tickets, boy, do we have the place for you. It's SeatGeek. Yeah. Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? If not, then it's time to start using SeatGeek. Yeah. SeatGeek is actually, if you've been listening for a long time, the preferred ticket partner for, I don't know, SeatGeek and this show go back to maybe 2016, 17. It's been a long time. So when we've gone to games, World Series games, ALCS games, SeatGeek has been the preferred method that we've used every single time to get tickets to go to these games. And I know that it's a difficult time during the season, but that's usually when the best deals are. A lot of people are probably saying, I can't really go out there and watch this team. And I get it, but I still go. Jake, you still go?
I'm still going.
You're still going. Tyler, you been to any games recently?
Yeah, my butt had a ton of fun yesterday there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun at the games this past weekend. I went Friday. Did I go Saturday, Jake? Yes.
No, we didn't go before on Saturday, but
right. Yeah, so we're still going to multiple games. And you can too with SeatGeek. And SeatGeek is so beloved by butts everywhere that they've made it the highest rated ticketing app. Whether it's concerts, baseball, basketball, football, festivals, or anything else, SeatGeek puts tickets from all over the web in one place to make buying simple. SeatGeek rates every ticket from 0 to 10 to make sure you're getting a good deal. Green means good, red means bad. And you can get $20 off your first purchase by using the promo code JARED, that is JARED, at SeatGeek.com, or you can use the SeatGeek app. That is promo code JARED for $20 off your first SeatGeek order. SeatGeek, get your seat in a seat. That's a butt reference. Download the app today. All right, I guess we can look ahead and then get the fuck out of here. Stop and Shop, look ahead. We're off on Monday. No baseball on Monday. Enjoy the mental health break of not having to watch this godforsaken team play baseball on Monday. And then the Boston Red Sox head on down to Atlanta to play a similarly struggling Atlanta Braves team, a team that just won the World Series. Imagine that if the Red Sox actually got past Houston and then they played the Braves in the World Series, and then both of these teams kind of sucked to start the year, and no one really understood why. At least the Braves are improving. They've won 2 straight, and they're getting closer to 500. They're 14-16. And it certainly helps when you can just acquire Ronald Acuna Jr. for nothing, getting him back from injury. You get the talent aspect of Acuna, and then you also get that spark because he fucking He's got more energy than anybody. But that whole solution that we had to fix the bullpen, that won't happen this week because Garrett Whitlock gets the ball in game 1 against Kyle Wright, who's fucking nasty. And then you have Nathan Eovaldi versus Ian Anderson. These are both 7:20 starts. Tuesday night's game is on TBS. But Kyle Wright, he's in the middle of a breakout campaign, which is great for the Red Sox. He's got a sub-2. He's 3-1 with a 1.74, a whip under 1, a strikeouts per 9 of 10.7. He's pitched at least 5 innings in every single start, including 7 in each of his last 2. In his first 4 starts, he allowed 3 earned runs. Strikeouts by game, 6, 9, 11, 8, and then 3. He's only allowed 1 home run this season. His heaters sits at 95, and hitters are hitting just 185 against the fastball. The Braves he's made 5 starts. The Braves have won 4 of them. And Red Sox hitters lifetime just 2 for 22. Plawecki and JBJ, both singles. Awesome. Then you got Ian Anderson, who's having a pedestrian season. 3-1, ERA of 4.01. The whip is 138, strikeouts per 9, 6.6, not ideal. Below average season by his standards. He's pitched 5+ innings in his last 4 starts. So you maybe going to get some length out of him. Strikeouts are down. The walks have been an issue for him, which I don't know how that's going to go against the Red Sox because the Red Sox have been a big time chase out of the zone team this year, not see a ton of pitches per plate appearance team. But his walks per start, 5, 1, 3, 2, 4. So he's handing out free passes. I don't know if the Red Sox are going to be taking them. It'll be an interesting showdown. His changeup is his best pitch. Hitters are 194 and 40% whiff rate against the changeup. Braves are 3-2 when he starts. And yeah, that's where we're at. So, Jake, are you predicting the Red Sox get swept?
Yeah, they're definitely losing both.
Oh my God. That's really bad.
Tyler?
God, man. I don't want to go where Jake's going, but
maybe we all have to predict a sweep for the powers to work.
Yeah.
Jake predicted a sweep and they got swept.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of Kyle Wright. You know, these guys we've seen with really good velocity. And, you know, since Kyle Wright broke out last year in the playoffs and had that moment and the start to this year, it feels like everything's kind of trending in his direction for him to be the prospect so many people thought he was going to be initially. I don't feel good about that game. And then, you know, Ian Anderson, like you said, down year so far, but still, you know, a really good pitcher in this league. I don't know. I don't feel great about it either way. I'm just, you know what? Picking them to win 2 out of 3 like I have is not working. So I will be joining you, Jake. I'm going sweep Braves.
I get the Braves sweeping. Both games. So
think about how many games that would be in a row for the Red Sox. It's scary. That'd be 7, right?
7 straight losses. 7 straight losses for the Red Sox.
Will any of us be alive, or will we all have jumped off a bridge at that point?
I mean, I'm already dead inside. And
but it can get worse.
Oh, it can get worse.
It can
I don't think you can hurt me anymore. Like once you're like, I think it hurts more to feel like you're in it and then have someone kind of like if you are holding on to the edge of the building. And then someone takes like a fucking hammer and they're just bashing one of your fingers at a time and you got to move your finger. Like that hurts way more than just if I'm already laying on the fucking ground at the bottom of the building. Like that's where I'm at. Like I can't hurt any more than I already am. Like I'm dead.
So we jumped off the balcony. We hit the pavement.
Yep.
We're leaking very badly.
Yeah. We're not dead. We could still, I guess they could like fly us in a helicopter to a nearby hospital. But being 10 games out and 9 games under 500 on a 5-game losing streak, it's not good.
It's like you fell off the balcony. You know you're dying. The ambulance misses the turn and you see it and you're kind of like, all right, Like, you know, I'm dying already. Like, it's kind of expected.
Yeah.
Like this is the hand I've been dealt.
Yeah. I still have hope. I'm sorry, but I do. I still have hope. Not that I'm not saying the Red Sox are going to win the division or make the playoffs. I still have hope that the season will have relevance at some point.
Above 500.
Yeah, like make it so that it's like, well, if this, and this happens, then they could find a way to get, within 3. And it's like, yeah, just give me some hope. Even if it never comes to fruition, give me a reason to have some moment of excitement. Because the only moment of excitement that we had was the fucking first inning against the Yankees on opening day. That's it.
It was a great first inning.
Oh, to die for. It was a great first inning. But, yeah, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see if the triple sweep prediction works to reverse the curse. Because it does feel like a curse at this point. And I don't think it's the curse of me leaving. There's something in play here. We just got to figure out what the curse is. But something just doesn't add up. Like if the Red Sox were 10-19 and the starters had a fucking 6.5 ERA, they'd be like, all right, yeah, I guess, well, what do we expect? But as far as like what's been happening, it's inexplicable. So we gotta start trying new shit to reverse this, and maybe it starts here. Maybe it starts here. Jake, do you have any takes? Jake's takes.
I've been sitting on a take that I've been wanting to drop for a while about Red Sox student nines, but
okay.
I don't know, Tyler, if you know about these, because we're around the same age, but I've been out of college now for 3 years, and I still am on the student nine ticket list, and it's the best thing of all time. But I wanted to drop this when the Red Sox were actually good and it was like fun to go to games. Because I was just gonna say how if you work for the student ticket office, please don't take me off the list, because I just got to go to every game for like $9. But at this point, I don't even know if I want it because it just sucks to go.
That's kind of like how I still use my college email to get Apple Music for a discount.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unbelievable deal, but I mean, if all the songs sucked, you wouldn't use it.
No,
like, I don't want to use it when all the games suck.
No, that's a good point. I think you helped a lot of people, Jake. For better or for worse, there will be baseball this summer, and we will watch it because we're sick. We're sick fucks.
We're sick people. Something wrong with us. All right, sick. I'm gonna fucking go to Providence, Rhode Island, and watch professional wrestling with Jimmy Stewart and the rest of the Kowloon crew. So that's gonna hopefully be a nice little distraction away from baseball. And we'll see you on Wednesday night / Thursday morning after the conclusion of the Atlanta Braves sweeping the Boston Red Sox in 2 games.
Buenas noches, amigos.